Hello, my name is Nils Krumrey. I'm a member of LogPoint's customer success team, and today I was going to share with you the biggest change in LogPoint 6.12, which is our alert rules and how we manage and categorize them. Just wanted to give you a timeline of how we improved upon alert rules in LogPoint over the last few releases. And it started in LogPoint 6.9 with the introduction of the MITRE ATT&CK visualizations, which for the first time gave you the opportunity to see your incidents not just across a timeline, but also mapped against the MITRE ATT&CK framework. And there's been various changes and improvements since, including the introduction of incident and alert rule IDs in the incident API. And hopefully you'll see that we're on a bit of a journey, which ultimately leads us to the announcement that we'll have seen earlier in the last few weeks, which is the introduction of our own SOAR capability. So that's security, orchestration, automation, and response in LogPoint 7. And for all of that to work, the alerts need to be categorized and they need to be easier to use and enable. And ultimately, our aim is to help customers become analysts, but without overloading them with too many alerts, false positives, and giving them time to investigate their alerts and incidents rather than spending time tuning the rules and even finding them to begin with. And there's been some exciting changes in LogPoint 6.12 that I'm going to show you in the product around how you can enable your alert rules and how you can manage your incidents. Now let's take a look at alerts and incidents in LogPoint 6.12, and hopefully you're familiar with incidents and alerts and you can spot the differences. If I click on the incident view, you can see that there's currently a few incidents that keep triggering, including this one here, which looks very much how the incidents used to look. But then you also see incidents like these, which have some additional metadata that is now embedded into the actual alert rule that triggers them. So these are the MITRE tactics and techniques, and they are also available for filtering on the left-hand side now, with the category being the MITRE tactic and the tag being the MITRE technique. So if I click on here, you get the list of all the MITRE tactics and you can filter on those. And also, if you are interested in a specific technique, you can enter that here, or you can scroll through and it does some autocomplete, so that maybe you can just filter on these. You can hit the filter button and it immediately cuts down this list to these ones here. Also very useful is the ability to filter on certain log sources. So again, you can just scroll through the available list. If you're just interested in your Windows logs, you can select that, hit filter, and you can see that the list is updated in the same way. It gets even more interesting when we have a look at how these alert rules are defined. So this is the view that if you've ever used alert rules in LogPoint, you'll be familiar with. These are my alert rules, i.e. rules that I've cloned and activated. They're currently running. The only information available is the name and the description, which becomes challenging when you look at the vendor rules, which are the pre-built LogPoint rules. And there are 56 pages worth of these. So previously, you could only search with full text searches, and in some cases it might make sense if you know what you're looking for. But even then, for Windows, there's a whole set of pre-built rules, and not all of them might be relevant to you. So what we have introduced is two more views that you can select from up here, and they are independent of that selection on the right-hand side. So if I select a tabular view, this gives me an overview by default of all the rules, both the active ones as well as the predefined ones. And it might not look that different at first, but you can see additional columns that are available here. And those are available for filtering. Now, not all alert rules will have that additional metadata. It could be rules that you've created yourself, or it could be older rules that are still active in the system. But if you're interested, for example, in a specific log source, just like in the incident view, you can quickly select, I'm just interested in Windows. And you can see that most of the Windows rules now have the MITRE tactics and techniques, including the sub-techniques, added to them that you can then filter on further. And that makes it much easier to determine the kind of rules that you might want to add if they are in a specific MITRE tactic, and you can add them straight from here. Also, these categories and tags are now available for searching from this screen. So if you are interested in this one that we've talked about before, you can see that there's one rule that is currently active, and there might be some other rules in this area that you might want to consider activating, and they're immediately available from here as well. You can also filter just on your active rules. If I then unfilter on this and on this, this is a similar view to what you saw in my view, with the additional benefit of having the log source metadata that some of these alerts now bring, and the techniques and tactics visible here as well. So hopefully that will make it much easier to determine which rules are currently active, which rules are available for certain log sources, and what do these rules actually do. And then we also have a coverage view, which is your very own MITRE visualization, but not like the one that we brought in with 6.9, which is about the incidents that have actually triggered. This is about the alert rules that are available and active in your system. Now you can see in the system I only had about 10 rules or so activated, and they are highlighted in this overview in this green color. The more rules I have active for a specific technique, the darker the color will be. So if I'm focusing, for example, on exfiltration, and I'm trying to enable additional techniques on additional rules for a technique, I can just click on one here, and I can see all the different alert rules that are available for this technique. So I have one active at the moment, which was about just data copy to removal device. So if I look at the available ones, there's one here, for example, an excessive amount of files copied to a removal device. I might want to activate that as well. And then there's one which detects the same thing, but is using endpoint protector. And that's why it's very useful that I see the log source here. So if I don't have any endpoint protector logs, then there's obviously no point in activating this alert rule. So this is another really nice way of identifying additional rules that you might want to activate, and seeing both the rules that are active as well as the rules that are available. So if we take a look at one of these rules and how they are defined, the great thing is that you can assign these changes yourself. So if we have one here, maybe that doesn't have this information, and I click on next, you can see that there's now a new step in the alert rule creation where I can both select a specific attack tag, if I know that this corresponds to, and they're all available here, and at the same time, the category that this technique is available in, or the tactic, immediately gets made available as well. And then lastly, I can also tell it the kind of log sources that I'm relying on. So again, if you are making a change to an alert rule and you want to let either yourself or someone else know in the future what log source this actually relies on, you can either select them from here or enter them from scratch. And you see how that becomes a tag. I can then finish this as usual, and this information is now available whenever that incident gets triggered again. So hopefully that was a good overview of the changes that we've brought in 6.12. And ultimately, having this additional information available for an alert means that third-party or our own tools that might be using this data downstream can now use this to make decisions. And that's really an important step towards enabling orchestration with automated tools, such as our own SAW that's coming. And it fits in nicely with the changes that we've introduced so far, which were around the incidents when they get triggered. Now you'll hopefully have a better understanding of the alert rules that are available, and also of your own incidents and how they get alerted on.